Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are going to be talking about the time value of money. We'll specifically be focusing on future value today, which means how much money a certain dollar amount that we have today is going to be worth at some certain period in the future. So, in order to calculate the future value, we need to know the present value, which is how much money are we investing today. We also need to know the interest rate per compounding period, and that amount can be found by taking the annual interest rate and dividing by the number of compounding periods. And then we also need to know n. We need to know the number of compounding periods because the more compounding periods have passed, right, the more time that's passed, the more that future value will be. If I invest money right now for 5 years, that's not going to accumulate as much as if I invest this same money with the same conditions for 10 years or 15. All right, so let's go ahead and give this one a go. Samantha deposits $40,000 inheritance into an investment that pays 8% annual interest rate that's compounded quarterly. She plans to keep the money there for 40 years and use it during her retirement. How much will her inheritance be worth in 40 years? So, spoiler, it's going to be worth a lot in 40 years at an 8% annual interest rate compounded. So, this is going to be a pretty big number you guys can expect, especially compared to the fact that today she only has $40,000. All right, so in this case, the present value, the value of the inheritance right now today, if she were to spend it today, is $40,000. She's making a good decision here, though, by investing the money. Then the interest rate is 8%. And then the other thing, though, is that we want the interest rate per compounding period. 8% is per year. So there's 4 compounding periods in the year, given that it's compounded quarterly. So we actually have to divide this by 4, and we'll actually get 2% per quarter. Then we have to find the number of compounding periods. It's saying that it's going to be 40 years, and there's 4 compounding periods per year. So we have to do 40 times 4 here, which is 160. So therefore, every 3 months for 40 years is going to give us 160 as our number of compounding periods. And the question is, how much will her inheritance be worth at this time? Well, after 40 years. So the future value of the inheritance 40 years from now is equal to $40,000 times 1 plus 0.02 to the power of 160. So I'm going to grab my calculator and we're going to figure that out. So 1.02 to the power of 160 times $40,000. So therefore, the inheritance will be worth $950,796.28. Now you might be thinking, oh, but isn't that wrong? She only had $40,000. How is it possible that now she has almost $1 million from this? And that is the power of compounding. Partly it's because this is a very, very good interest rate, right? 8% annual interest is very good. A part of this, honestly, the biggest part of this is the number of years that she's leaving it in here for. 40 years is a long time. However, let's say she's only 25 or 20 or 30 now. That could be realistic, actually, for her to just set this aside and let this grow for 40 years. But let that sink in, right? If you get some sort of big inheritance or big bonus, consider doing this with it if you're able to, because look at how much it can grow in 40 years. 40 years is a long time.